Welcome to Google Ads Unleashed, the podcast that helps you harness the power of Google Ads. And now your host, Jeremy Young.
Welcome back to Google Ads Unleashed, guys. Hope everyone is doing fabulously this Monday and is actually staying cool. If you're hearing something in the background, it's my fan, because otherwise I'm going to die in this little office of mine. And today I want to talk about something that is pretty short and sweet, but something you really need to be aware of with your sort of measuring setup. So you only get in what you get out what you put in, right, with Google Ads. And of course, conversion tracking is one of those. And with a recent audit I've done, and this is a listener of the podcast, actually with two recent audits, I've been thinking about again how important this is and how important this can be. So I've had two audits which I've done. One was for sort of a labelizing product hero setup, right, which is great. Someone had the right idea that they wanted to create buckets on our highly profitable orders. They wanted to create buckets on products that are selling unprofitably or below a certain ROAS target. They also wanted to make sure that they are pushing products which are not getting any ad spend. Then on the other side, I had a setup of a large catalog where basically the client had the right idea. They grouped the catalog by the margin of the product. So for instance, 20% margin, 40% margin, 50% margin, and so on, and slapped different ROAS targets on it. So you're getting the right data out by the data you put in and strategy you put in, right? So obviously all of this is a massive improvement compared to like a catch-all campaign or something. But it's not nuanced enough, and I just really want to make you aware in this episode to think about what kind of strategy you use with the outcome that you want to achieve and what kind of nuances you have to think about. So I've been debating with this client and arguing that POAS is better and that they need to do this. And why is that? Because with any kind of setup, especially when you have that many products, it is extremely difficult to account for certain factors with that current static setup that you can only really sort of find out if you pump profit as a conversion value into Google Ads. Let me explain. So for instance, with a static setup, a product that has a low margin, right, does not actually mean that it doesn't generate profitable orders, right? You may make 20 cents on every dollar or every 20 pence on every pound you spend with a product that only has a 10% margin, but the same applies to one that has a 50% margin. Just because they have different margins, they don't really require different bidding in that. They require the right data that something can be optimized towards. Or bucketing via product hero doesn't actually mean that it's hitting, it just means that it's hitting a certain ROAS target. It doesn't mean that for that product in that instance, a ROAS of let's say 3 is your benchmark, is actually good. You may still be losing revenue. Only profitable can do that. You may have a product that may have a low margin but is bought in large quantities usually. We've got a store, for instance, where very often screws and so on are purchased. There's not a lot of money in screws, but who buys one screw, right? They buy thousands of screws. Suddenly, it becomes extremely profitable, okay? We also had in this instance an issue where basically the orders that you've been charged for are relatively similar, like the price that they pay, but the actual profit of each order is different because depending on whether someone's having their parcel sent to Alabama versus New York or upstate New York is wildly different. The static sort of setups do not actually account for those outside factors, but proper POAS setups actually do account for this. And there are many other things, such as maybe return rates, right? Or, for instance, a few other factors that you may want to sort of factor in. And I think this episode serves as a stark reminder that when I've done this audit and now I've been in discussion with the prospects back and forth about this, is that you have to always understand what is the right tactic that I could use. And with that, I mean, what is the right, for instance, way of tracking conversions, or the right way of setting up campaigns or scripts or whatever, in order to achieve the outcome I want to achieve with my strategy, right, that I want to get towards. And yeah, I just wanted to say that margin bidding is not POAS. POAS is not margin bidding. And whatever you're trying to achieve with your ads, you've got to think creatively about how to get there and the right setup to do so. I'm not saying that the other setups are bad, but everything always has nuances, and nuances is what this job is about. And if you want to have a chat about your setup, if you're running into similar issues, wondering whether your setup's the right one, get in touch. Jeremy at younganddigital.marketing. You can also go on LinkedIn, Jeremy Google Ads. You find me there, Jeremy Young Google Ads. You'll also be able to just book a one-to-one with me via the website, younganddigital.marketing. I want to make everyone aware we, of course, are a Google Ads agency for e-commerce businesses. We help you manage your ads, or we can also teach you how to do it. So recently we've launched a new service. There's going to be a new landing page on the site soon, so have an eye on it. We're going to be launching a Done With You service where we set you up for success so that you can think like us. And with that, I wish you a pleasant rest of the week and wish you a happy and productive one as well.
Thank you for listening to Google Ads Unleashed. To connect with Jeremy, check him out online at www.younganddigital.marketing. We'll see you next time.